are Locked On Cowboys, your daily Dallas Cowboys podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cowboys. Locked On Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Locked On Cowboys podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. And joining me today, as always, is my co-host, Landon McCool. You can check him out on Twitter at McCoolBCB. You can also listen to him on the Best Coast Boys podcast. Landon, it is game week, buddy. We're only a few hours away from the Cowboys playing. How you doing today, sir?
I'm excited. It's we've been talking about it for weeks, how it creeps up, it sneaks up, and it's here. And we're at the game preview podcast, which is just crazy to think about how long this offseason has been. But I'm excited, buddy. It's been a long time since we've seen this team play, and then I'm ready for it.
So a couple of programming notes things that we need to talk about. So we are going to be doing a Hard Knocks season finale review episode later tonight that'll be out early Wednesday morning. We've got a crossover podcast that'll come out on Thursday with the guys over at Locked On Bucks. And then I think the plan, Landon, is for you and I to do a show pretty close to the conclusion at the end of the Cowboys Bucks game. We'll talk about what we saw, give some of our reactions, and then we're right into the thick of things. So it's going to be a busy next couple of days. So let's go ahead and start previewing this game. I think we have to start with some of the big news that we haven't talked about yet. Zach Martin. We'll talk about the Cowboys offense against the Tampa Bay defense. I know that seemed like it happened a week ago.
That happened like a year ago, right? It's crazy.
So how much does this hurt the Cowboys offense not having Zach Martin?
Well, I mean, first of all, like the roller coaster of just this event has been up and down and up and down. He's definitely out. Oh, there's a chance. I don't think there's very much of a chance at all, if any chance, that this is that Zach's gonna play. So I would assume I would go into the game assuming that Zach is not gonna play. It's a huge loss. I mean, it's a big loss. There's just no way around it. When you're facing a team that's as talented as Tampa is, you need to make sure that the talent disparity is as thin as possible.
Yep.
I will say this: the situation that we're facing now with Martin being out but Collins being in, that actually may be a better situation when you think about like who the backups are, who's playing, and that sort of thing. How much help you can give a guard. It may be a better situation that, Martin has to miss this week versus Collins having to miss this week. So it's not a good situation no matter what. But if we're looking for silver lining, I mean, it would be so much worse if La'el Collins was also missing this game against, obviously what is a very good defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still concerned that La'el is just not going to be able to make it through the game. And even if he does, what we saw in preseason was not great. Like, it's pretty clear he's still rusty. And maybe he was battling through a stinger then too, and we just didn't know it yet. But the offensive line is going to be a problem. I would think the plan for Dallas is just to get rid of the ball as quick as possible, right? But Tampa's pretty good at, tackling in the middle of the field and, swarming to the ball. But I almost think that's the way that Dallas is going to have to operate, correct?
I mean, honestly, I think it's about creating conflict against the linebackers, and maybe, having to rely on some RPOs early on. I watched some games of Tampa in the last few days, and they are definitely susceptible to tight ends. Like, it seems like there was a lot of ability for teams to make some hay with the tight ends in the middle of the field. But yeah, I mean, I'm certainly trying to cause conflict in the second level. I'm trying to make sure that the linebackers are always wrong, because if you give them just a clean look, they're really fast. They're going to get to where they need to go. I think, when you look at the defensive line, there's been a lot of talk about how, oh my gosh, and Ndamukong Suh versus Connor McGovern is going to get guys. Ndamukong Suh is not who you need to be worried about. It's Vita Vea. It's Vita Vea. Ndamukong Suh at this point is probably above average player,
He's
but
fine.
not much more. He's not the same guy that he was, these last few years. So I'm more concerned about someone like Vita Vea. I think that actually the Cowboys should be able to handle the pass rush aspect of the interior defense. Where I'm concerned about is the pass rush on the outside.
Yeah.
I look, we talked about La'el Collins. I'm hoping that, we've seen La'el be a gamer before, so I'm hoping that he gets in there and he plays well. And if he doesn't, you can find ways to kind of help him out a little bit. I'm excited about Tyron Smith and Jason Pierre-Paul. Like, I think that Tyron Smith's ready for that. He's done that before. He's got a lot of success.
The NFL just couldn't go without a Tyron, Jason Pierre-Paul start, week one matchup, right? We have it basically every year.
I would like to know the percentage of Jason Pierre-Paul's career that he started out the season versus Tyron Smith, because it's a lot. I actually think that the defensive line matchup versus our offensive line is not going to be as terrible as we're all expecting. I think a lot of us are having, dances of what happened last year with the kind of depleted offensive line. So obviously Shaq Barrett is an incredible player. But there are ways to kind of help mitigate that if you need to. You can leave a tight end a little bit and go from there. So I think that's going to be key, is kind of just making sure that everything's solid up front. I just don't think it's going to be as terrible as everyone's making it out to be. But where I am concerned specifically is in the run game, trying to run and move bodies like Sue and Vita Vea out of the middle with Williams, Bialish, and McGovern. There's just not a lot of power there. There's a lot better athleticism and ability to move. So, look for wide zone, look for some counter, look for some, boot action stuff to try to get these guys moving sideways. But then again, with the constraints to make the linebackers incorrect, to make the linebackers take false steps and try to get out of position.
The one thing I want to say about the Cowboys offense against Tampa Bay's defense, I think this is going to have to be a Blake Jarwin game for a couple different reasons. First of all, he has a massive size advantage over everybody in the middle of the field, whether it's Levante David and Devin White, whether it's their two safeties. Jordan Whitehead, who is actually their starting free safety, is going to be out this game due to an injury. So it's Antoine Winfield and Mike Edwards. Winfield was really, really good last year. Do not get me wrong. He is a phenomenal player. But one of the knocks on Winfield kind of coming out of school was he just doesn't have a lot of size, right? He's 5'10", 200 pounds. So this is going to have to be a game where Blake Jarwin makes plays down the middle of the field with his size advantage, making plays above his head. If the Cowboys can do that, I do think they'll have a chance to do fairly well on offense. Really quickly, how do you think the Dallas's receivers match up against their corners? Because I like their corners. I think Sean Murphy-Bunting is really, really good. I think Jamel Dean is okay. Carlton Davis is going to get paid this year. How do you think they match up?
I think they match up well. I actually think that the cornerback group is, a little overstated. I think they're good. They're solid, but I think that they're also
three guys that are really good. Or not really good. Three guys that are above average, right? And I think that makes you have a good secondary in general, right? When there's
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And I think that, when you combine them with the pass rush that they had at the end of the year, it's a lot easier to play cornerback. So I think that when you combine them with the defensive pass rush, it's a lot. But I also think that the Cowboys have the personnel to win at every spot against these guys if they need to. No one's getting, I don't think, locked down by these corners. So I think I do expect the Cowboys to be able to make pretty good hay against these guys.
Protect Dak Prescott, and I have got a feeling guys are going to be open. It's just, can Dak hit him? Can he get the ball down the field? I think he can. And can they keep him upright? That remains to be seen. All right, let's take a quick break so I can tell you guys about Bet Online. It's that time of year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron to start the football season. As always, Bet Online is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 100% welcome bonus. BetOnline is the fastest and the easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, from football, boxing, basketball, baseball, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait and take advantage of all the great offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, Landon, let's talk about that Cowboys defense. How in the world are they going to stop Tom Brady and all of those weapons?
They gotta move him off his spot. They gotta find a way to get in front of Brady's face and make him look. The one thing I've noticed about Tom Brady, especially in 2020, is not only does he not want to get hit, he doesn't want to get anywhere within the zip code of being hit. So he will give up on plays, like
especially in the regular season, because Brady knows this is a marathon. He's not going to take a hit unless he absolutely has to. And even then, it's like, okay, it's not the Super Bowl. It's not a playoff game. I'm not taking hits that I don't need to take.
And the other thing too, that's, I don't know, this seems like this is a newer Brady thing, is that I saw a lot of plays when watching Tampa Brady that of him just like putting the ball up, like just throwing the ball up, which I understand, having faith in Evans and Godwin, and I understand that, but like there was just a lot of times when I saw him, not afraid to take chances and just kind of heave it up even when he probably should not be. So, this is not the same guy that is absolutely, avoiding all turnovers. He will put the ball in play. I think, if you've watched this Bucs offense, it's a lot of short dump offs. It's a lot of running the football, and then it's shots down the field. What you don't see is a lot of intermediate routes. You don't see a lot of kind of 15 to 20 yard outs. I think they're limiting the throws to, Brady is whatever, 52 years old or whatever his age is.
44.
And I think, his arm is not what it used to be. I mean, that's not a knock on the guy. I just think that's the reality. And so I think the most difficult throw to make when you don't have the arm strength are those, digs, those out routes that are like 15 to 20 yards where you got to throw it on the
football to the sideline. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's got to be, slow arc straight to the player. You can throw a deep ball if you can loft it, if you can get it down the field and get it, especially with guys like Evans and Godwin and I guess Brown too. Frankly, you can throw the ball with some loft down the field and have those guys make a play. Brady is incredibly good at the short and the deep throws. It's that intermediate area where they're just not even trying. So the Cowboys need to find a way to make sure they're stopping the run, because they are definitely going to try to run the football.
Yep.
Just based on after having watched the Cowboys tape from last year, they must be interested in running the football. If they could figure out a way to kind of slow that down, get them to third down, I imagine it being a lot of the kind of mug defense, right? Where you got two guys peppering the A gaps on third down, likely Parsons and Neal probably. One guy's blitzing, one guy's dropping. And you're playing games and stunts up front to try to, you want to try to hit that spot between Jensen and Kappa. That's the sweet spot. Marpet's a pretty decent guard. Smith on the outside is going to have an interesting game against Randy Gregory. I would watch
the one the Cowboys have to win, by the way. They've got to win that matchup.
I would watch that matchup. And then if you're looking for elite players going against each other, DeMarcus Lawrence and Tristan Whitworth is going to be a cannot miss matchup. But I think if you're talking about for what the Cowboys need to do to get Tom Brady off his game, you've got to find a way to have Odigizua, Parsons, Watkins, any of these guys in the middle that are going to be kind of part of that pass rush package in the nickel package. They need to find a way to pressure him right up the center so that he gets rid of the ball early, or just falls down on the ground, which is usually what he does whenever anyone gets 3 feet unabated to him. He'll just fall down.
Yeah, I think you and I have the same notes here, because I thought the same thing. Last year, Brady really struggled with these A-gap blitzes, and then, when there's pressure right in his face, then driving to make a slant throw 9 yards down the field. Like that's where you can beat him. I am worried about the Cowboys getting sucked into the play action passes, right? Because I do think they're going to try to sell out to stop the run. That's where I am a little bit nervous, but there are ways to get this offense to look clunky at times. We even saw it in the NFC Championship game against Green Bay, in the first half. Tom Brady had 3 interceptions and just did not look great. Now, he's got a full offseason. He's reportedly healthier. It's going to be a challenge, but it's not impossible to get this defense to have, a couple stops. And really, that's kind of what you need, Landon, right? You need like a stop per quarter, right? You can
Yeah,
get a
and
stop per
I think
quarter is fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you watch, some of those games, like we talked about, that a lot of those balls bounce their way. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's not like they are the most talented team in football. I think there's no way around that. You could probably make an argument for the Kansas City Chiefs just because Patrick Mahomes is so incredibly talented, but this is probably the best roster top to bottom in football.
Oh, yeah.
They're not an unbeatable team. They have weaknesses. I
agree with you. I would say this: if the Cowboys do lose this game, and I think a lot of people are projecting them, and that's fine. Tampa Bay is a veteran team. It doesn't necessarily mean that once you get to the playoffs, they're unbeatable again. Like I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
I think Tampa Bay is one of these teams where they're just hoping to kind of stay the same all season long and not have too many of these guys fall off a cliff because they're really old. Like outside of Tom Brady, they got a lot of really old players, whether it's Antonio Brown or Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul's even an older guy like Levante David. They're just hoping that they can kind of keep this same pace. I think the Cowboys are hoping to improve, right? The defense gets better as the season goes along. Some of their young kids start to play better. I think we just want them to be competitive in this game. Obviously, we want them to win, but stay competitive, show some stuff, stay healthy. That's the most important part of this game, right?
Yeah, I think for me, obviously we want to win this game. I think this is the most difficult matchup the Cowboys are going to face all season, simply because this is the Super Bowl champions. They're a rare Super Bowl champion in the free agent era that has returned all their players,
all 22 starters.
They are a very, very difficult challenge, but I think to remind Cowboy fans that losing this game is not the end of our season by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, and especially since again these games have been further devalued by the fact that we've added another game. So I think that for me, it's about seeing what the Cowboys do against this kind of opponent, especially defensively. I really want to, I have my own theories about what this defense is going to look like. I have my own thoughts about, what Quinn's going to bring to the table. To see it deployed against what is likely the best offense they're going to face all season early, I think will give us at least some kind of indication of what to expect from the defense for the rest of the season.
I would like to see, this is weird to say, but I'd like to see the speed on defense match what Tampa Bay has. Like I can live in the first couple games of the season with mental mistakes and guys not necessarily knowing exactly where they're going to be and maybe losing 50-50 balls, but they've got to be a fast defense. It's their only chance to survive this season. So if they look like they're playing at the same speed as Tampa Bay, I think that's going to be really, really encouraging. I want to do our weekly predictions of this game, Landon, because it's my favorite part of the show every single time. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys about DirecTV. It is a simple way to get all of the entertainment you love without the hassle. DirecTV Stream brings you live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, which means you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So stop waiting and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more about it at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. I also want to tell you about rockauto.com. It's a family business serving auto parts to customers online for over 20 years. They have everything from engine control modules and brake parts, motor oil, and even new carpet. Whether it's for your classic or your daily driver, get everything you need in a few easy clicks delivered directly to your door. The rockauto.com catalog is unique and remarkably easy to navigate. Quickly see all the parts available for your car or truck and choose the brand, specifications, and prices that you prefer. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in the How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com today. All right, Landon, at Bet Online, the Cowboys are currently 8-point underdogs, 7.5-point underdogs. I want you to take a bet on the spread and also who you think is going to win this game.
I think Tampa's going to win.
Can the Cowboys keep it within a touchdown?
I think the Cowboys will. I don't think Tampa's going to cover. I think it'll be close. It'll be a closer game than that. They gave Zach Martin a whole point, if I'm not mistaken. Weren't they at 7 before?
Which is insane for a guard. It was 7.
That's insane.
Well, you know what's funny is I looked at the odds as soon as the Zach Martin news hit, and it went up to 10 in some sports books, which I don't know.
But
I mean, obviously, they're not giving
driving traffic.
Zach Martin, right?
They're driving traffic, is what I assume, right?
Correct.
Like they're just trying to get. Yes. They're trying to bait people into taking that bet. So, yeah, I don't. I mean, I think that's. I don't know that Zach Martin's worth a point. I love Zach Martin. He's the best guard in football, but he's not worth a point. No guard is. Nope. And I also think, again, I'm not trying to. I think there's a lot of people kind of, tempering the expectations on Connor McGovern, and I'm certainly not trying to pump him up, as good as Zach Martin, but he got a ton of work in the preseason and a ton of work in training camp and looked good. So, I think we should give him the benefit to see, exactly what's going on here. It may not be the end of the world. I actually, again, think that the biggest difference that we're going to notice there is in the run game, not in the pass game. Yeah, I have a feeling that I actually think that for the most part, Connor McGovern will do pretty good work as a pass protector.
It's so hard when you don't have Zach Martin out there to run the ball because this team is a kind of right-handed rushing team, right?
I you know what I can tell you. I'll say this though, having a healthy Tyron Smith, again. Taking the cowboy collar off, I know I made that meme like it was joke, but I really do. That's a big step. Like, feeling that he didn't need that.
Give it to Lyle.
Maybe so. It's just it's a big step. I want to imagine that Tyron Smith is going to absolutely monster people out there. So you can definitely run behind him. And I shared a fun clip yesterday that I had not noticed when I watched the NFC Championship game yesterday, previously. Of Marcedes Lewis absolutely destroying Jason Pierre-Paul in the run game. If you guys get a chance, I think it's in the first half, you should go watch it, where he literally he drove him 10 yards down and just buried him. I could see Tyron Smith doing that pretty easily too. So I think that there is some benefit to getting the run game going early, especially on that side, because I think it will slow down Jason Pierre-Paul in the pass rush. And we'll see exactly how well they're going to be able to run the ball without Zach Martin, because that is the one spot where I think you're really going to miss him.
I agree. So I didn't get a score prediction for you. Like you're saying that
sorry,
covers. Yes. So like, what do you think? 31-24, something like that?
I think it's going to be big points. So I would say, let's call it 31-28.
Okay. Listen, I would take that. Honestly, I think I would just like to see a competitive game. I think the worst thing in the world is this is just a complete blowout from the opening kickoff where it's 38-10 and it's never really competitive. That'll be a tough show to do. A show to do on Thursday night if the Cowboys just look awful. But I'm gonna go. I think Tampa Bay wins. I think Dallas keeps it competitive for a half or so. I'll say 34-21. Does that sound bad?
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. 13 points.
I'll be honest with you, Landon. I just don't care about the first month of the season all that much, because go back and look at the first month of the season last year and how little that we can actually take away from what happened.
Yeah.
Not just for the Cowboys. I mean, across the league, right? Atlanta looked like they were going to be one of the best teams in the league for 59 minutes in week 2. They were
and I think, like you said, this is a situation where Tampa is desperately holding on to what they've got to see if they can figure it out. The Cowboys are on a different path. They are a young team that is hoping to get better as the season goes on. The offense has some continuity. The offense has been growing together for several years. They feel good about that, but this defense specifically is built so that they're going to be better at the end of the year than hopefully that they are when they start.
I just want to remind people that really, and this actually comes from Bill Belichick, you just want to get out of the first month of the season at 2-2 or better, right? Like if you can be 2-2 and survive, it gives you a chance going into October. Cowboys' first couple games, obviously Tampa Bay is going to be the hardest game of the season at Tampa Bay, and then at Chargers. The rest of the way, Landon, their schedule's pretty easy. Home against Philadelphia on a Monday night, home against the Panthers at 1:00. Just get through 2-2 and everything will be okay, correct?
Absolutely. Right. This is not going to be the end of the season no matter what happens.
That is it for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we'll be back on Wednesday morning, Tuesday night to do our HBO Hard Knocks thing. I get my days all mixed up.
It's confusing. This off schedule is just killing me.
I know it's Labor Day football game on Thursday is all weird. HBO Hard Knocks crossover later this week. We'll have a season long, a game recap. My gosh, I'm struggling here. Make sure you guys are tuning in. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the show at Locked On Cowboys. Follow Landon at McCool BCB. I'm at Marcus _Mosher. I promise we'll be better the next episode. We'll see you later.